"Get out! Here is not meant for people like you." The words didn't just echo, they detonated. The diner, once filled with the soft clatter of cutlery and the hum of conversation, fell into stunned silence. Heads turned, forks froze mid-air, coffee cups trembled in hands. The air thickened with tension, disbelief, and something darker: recognition. Everyone knew what they had just heard, and everyone knew who it was aimed at. She stood at the entrance, poised and composed. "Before we dive deep, if you believe in justice, truth, and stories that shake the system, smash that subscribe button like it owes you answers. We're exposing racism, uplifting resilience, and rewriting the rules. Drop your country in the comments. Let's see how far this movement reaches. Wherever you're watching from, you're part of this reckoning. Let's make noise. Let's make change. Let's make history. Subscribe, share, stay woke." Dr. Amina Carter, Black, brilliant, CEO of a global biotech firm. Her tailored navy suit was immaculate. Her heels clicked with quiet authority. She had come for breakfast. What she received was a reminder, one she'd encountered too many times before. Racism doesn't care about titles. It doesn't care about degrees, accolades, or accomplishments. It only sees what it wants to hate. The two off-duty officers at the counter leaned back, their uniforms half-buttoned, their arrogance fully loaded. Their faces were smug, their posture relaxed. They had made their statement. They expected her to leave, to shrink, to disappear. But she didn't move. She didn't flinch. She didn't retaliate. She simply turned, walked to a booth, and sat down. The waitress hesitated. The manager peeked from the kitchen, pale and unsure. The room held its breath. Amina didn't speak. She didn't need to. Her presence was a declaration. Her silence was louder than any protest. She pulled out her phone, typed a message, and waited. Minutes passed. The officers laughed. The waitress avoided eye contact. The manager whispered to a cook. But outside, something was changing. Vans pulled up. Cameras emerged. Reporters spilled out. The diner's windows reflected flashing lights. Not police, but media. The officers' smirks faded. The waitress backed away. The manager stepped forward, trembling. Amina remained still. She had made one call, and the world was now watching. She wasn't just a CEO. She was a force. Born in Atlanta, raised by a single mother who worked 2 jobs and still found time to teach her daughter about dignity. Amina had faced racism in classrooms, boardrooms, airports, and now diners. She had earned her PhD in molecular biology before age 30, built a billion-dollar company from scratch, sat on international panels, mentored young black women in STEM. But none of that mattered to the men in that diner. To them, she was just another black woman who didn't know her place. What they didn't know was that she had spent her life dismantling places like that. Her story wasn't one of revenge, it was one of reckoning. The footage spread like wildfire. Amina's calm, the officer's aggression, the manager's silence, it was all captured. Millions watched, millions shared. The diner's name trended. The officers were identified. Their records weren't clean. Complaints of racial profiling, excessive force. Internal investigations quietly closed. Not this time. The mayor, an old college peer of Amina's, launched a public inquiry. The police chief tried to downplay it, but the footage spoke louder than any press release. Amina's company issued a statement. "We stand with Dr. Carter. We stand for justice. We stand for change." The diner's Yelp page was flooded. The manager issued an apology, but the damage was done. This wasn't just a PR crisis. It was a cultural moment. A public hearing was held. The room was packed. Journalists, activists, legal observers. Everyone knew something rare was happening. Amina sat at the front, composed. She didn't need to raise her voice. Her presence was enough. Witnesses from the diner spoke. The waitress cried. The manager admitted fault. The officers tried to spin the story, claimed she was aggressive, claimed they felt threatened. But the footage didn't lie. One officer was fired, the other resigned. The department announced mandatory bias training. The diner closed for renovations. Amina didn't gloat. She didn't celebrate. She launched a foundation, the Carter Initiative, focused on racial equity in law enforcement and public spaces. She funded scholarships, hosted town halls, created safe spaces for dialogue. Months later, she returned to the town, not for revenge, for restoration. She met with community leaders, spoke to students, walked into the reopened diner, now under new ownership, and ordered coffee. The waitress, now promoted to manager, served her with trembling hands. Amina smiled. Walking away never changed anything. This story isn't just about one woman. It's about every person who's ever been told they don't belong. Every person who's been silenced, ignored, or erased. It's about the power of resilience, the power of education, the power of rising above. Dr. Amina Carter didn't just win a moment. She sparked a movement. She didn't need revenge. She had the truth. And in that diner, justice wasn't blind. It was watching. She reminded the world that dignity can survive injustice, that truth can outlast lies, that the system can be challenged from within. She reminded us that justice isn't a myth. It's a fight worth having. And she reminded us that the system doesn't define us. We define it. This wasn't about revenge. It was about truth. She didn't raise her voice. She raised the standard. Dr. Amina Carter proved that power isn't loud. It's unshakable. She didn't just survive racism. She exposed it. She didn't just challenge the system. She redefined it. So if this story moved you, share it, speak it, live it. Because justice isn't blind, it's watching. And the next time someone says, "You don't belong here," let them know you define the space. Stay loud, stay proud, stay woke.